Thank you very much. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from New York, Ms. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, I just want to ask you to qualify a question that was asked before. Can you confirm that there has never been a parent deported under your tenure without finding out if they want their children to go with them? Simply yes or no. Can you confirm that?
To the best of my knowledge, every parent was afforded that option.
Okay. Secretary Nielson, on June 17th of 2018, you tweeted, "We do not have a policy of separating families at the border, period." Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the Justice Department's zero-tolerance policy to prosecute all individuals who cross the border outside of ports of entry, and he made that announcement on April 6th of 2018. In a memo to you dated April 23rd regarding the Justice Department's zero-tolerance policy, CBP Commissioner Kevin McAleenan, USCIS Director Francis Cisna, and then ICE Acting Director Thomas Homan stated DHS could also permissibly direct the separation of parents or legal guardians and minors held in immigration detention so that the parent or legal guardian can be prosecuted pursuant to these authorities. Did you read that memo, yes or no?
Yes.
Did you concur with this assessment made by your component agency leaders, yes or no?
There were many assessments in there. I concurred with their recommendation on what to do to increase consequences for those crossing the border illegally.
The piece that I just read, do you concur with that?
I'm sorry, could you read that particular?
DHS could also permissibly direct the separation of parents or legal guardians and minors held in immigration detention so that the parent or legal guardian can be prosecuted pursuant to these authorities. That specific statement.
As I understand it, we have the legal authority to do that, yes.
Did you agree with that?
What I agreed to do is to...
No, did you agree with that assessment that they made?
That wasn't a recommendation, ma'am. It's a legal statement. We do have the legal authority to do it as I understand it.
Were you aware that the zero-tolerance policy would lead to minors being separated from their parents, yes or no?
As we increase consequences for those who break the law, just as
yes,
everywhere...
Look, I have such limited time, Madam Secretary. Okay. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
As a consequence for a parent going to jail, we in this country do not take the children to jail.
Okay. So I take that as a yes, that you understood that the zero-tolerance policy was going to lead to minors being separated from their parents.
As it has in the last 3 administrations.
Yes. Okay. So the answer is yes. At the end of February, BuzzFeed News reported that you did not issue guidance on how to implement the zero-tolerance policy until May 4th, which was about a month after the Attorney General Sessions announced the policy. Did you discuss this policy with Attorney General Sessions before he announced it on April 6th, yes or no?
This was an ongoing discussion.
No, yes or no, did you discuss the zero-tolerance policy with the then Attorney General Sessions before he made the announcement on April 6th, yes or no?
At some time before the announcement, we had the conversation. I did not know he was making that announcement that day.
But you knew, you had a conversation with him about the zero-tolerance policy, yes or no? Yes.
Zero tolerance means prosecuting those who break the law. Yes, we as law enforcement agencies talk about prosecuting those who break the law.
So then why did you wait until May 4th to issue implementation guidelines?
Because we wanted to work within the department to ensure we could do it in a appropriately safe way with compassion. As you mentioned, the memo from my component heads came April 23rd. I then issued, after many consultations with them, the direction to increase prosecution between ports of entry, which is the only place where that's against the law, for all adults coming across the border illegally.
We all know the results of the policy and the compassionate or lack of compassion.
Ma'am, it's not a policy, it's the law. We enforce the law.
The policy is a policy. You just talked about discussing that policy with the then Attorney General. So I have 1 minute left. I have 3 quick questions. During your tenure as Secretary, how many times have you waived environmental regulations required under the Endangered Species Act for border barrier construction?
There are multiple laws that we look at. I can get
I'm asking you specifically about this
and I'm trying to answer it. I believe 4 or 5, but I will get you the exact answer.
During your thank you. During your tenure as Secretary, how many times have you waived environmental regulations under the Clean Water Act for border barrier construction?
It would be the same number. Again, I'm happy to get you the exact number.
Okay. And during your tenure as Secretary, how many times have you waived environmental regulations under the Clean Air Act for border barrier construction?
It should be the same. I'll get you the number.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Chair now recognizes gentleman from New York, Mr. Katko.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank